Hello, middle school and high school students and staff of New Brunswick. I think that covers everyone. I'm not sure. My name is Andrew Holmes. I wish I were with you there today, but I couldn't cover everybody at once, so it's easier to make this video for you. But I've got a great message. I hope you lean in because there's something here for you. And beyond that, I'm pretty sure your teachers are going to quiz you on this as well. So take some notes. But I want to talk to you about becoming, as the title here says, becoming a holistic entrepreneur. And you're going to say, Andrew, I don't care about becoming an entrepreneur. I'm going to say that's totally fine because the word that's most important here is not entrepreneur. The word that's most important here is holistic. Okay. I'm going to teach you a bit about being holistic, which means being a whole person, expressing yourself and in the ways that make most sense to you so that you can properly align your future with your desires. So I'm going to talk to you about that. And I'm going to do it by showing you my life. And again, you're going to say, Andrew, I don't care about your life. And I'm going to say, too bad you have to watch this. I hope you enjoy this. I have made this so that it makes sense and makes it easy for you to digest and to take some things away. So to start to look at my life, we'll take it back to 2007. And this is me in high school. This is a gang sign thing that I used to do, and I don't know why. I don't know what this means, but I did it. And so this guy wasn't very cool. He didn't really know what was going on. But yeah, 2007. I was 17 years old. I had no money. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I wore some very big clothes. I don't know. I don't think the trend is there right now. I think you guys are wearing some really, like, I don't know, but back then we used to wear some great. I was 148 pounds or 48 pounds, like a little guy, and I was wearing the great big clothes, 3X. It was something. It was a sight to see. That was me, but that's not who I am now. I'm a different person now. 17 years have gone by, and now I have a wife. I have two kids, a house, a business. So I've been a previous university instructor at UMBSJ in St. John, University of New Brunswick in St. John. I've done multiple career engagements, so I'm helpful in my community, and I'm not full of fear. And you see I've added the word fear here in 2007 because in high school and in middle school, I was like, I don't know, fear was like, there was a lot of fear. Like, what am I going to do next? And what is that person going to think? And what are my parents going to think? And I just, lots of fear happening, but I've learned to understand what part fear plays in my life. And we're going to talk about that today too. But to illustrate best what a holistic life looks like and what the path looks like to become an entrepreneur, should you wish to do that, I'm going to take you through the phases of my life. And I'm going to do it by showing you the different elements of my life and how they work together. So we'll look at personal, school, work, entrepreneur, and community. These are the main themes of my life. Okay. So in 2007, I worked at McDonald's in St. John, McAllister Drive. It was an amazing job. Uh, I was lucky. Felt lucky to have it, and I did that up until I graduated from St. John or first from St. John High School. Why would I say that? From Simon's High School. I had a lot of friends at St. John High, but anyway, Simon's High School is where I graduated from, and I love my time there. Again, lots of fear, lots of what am I going to do next with my life. The next thing to do with my life was I graduated, I got a job. I had a couple different jobs. I mowed lawns. I went out west to Alberta and I installed east trough. Neither of those were fun. I realized I'm not good with my hands. I'm better with talking. Although I used to be terrified of public speaking in middle school and high school. Now I do it for a living, so that's interesting. Again, fear. We'll talk about that more later. But this job here, you can see this guy is kind of looking upset and probably depressed. Has a headset on. He's working at a call center, and that's what I did. I worked at a call center. You know when you call like 1-800, and I don't know if you do that at your age. I don't think I did, but if you have a problem with a product or something, you can call a company and get help. I did that. I talked to strangers on the phone. It was terrible. We used to have to do that, and that job was tough. Not just because the job was tough. I had to work till midnight most nights. I had to work. I didn't have a vehicle, so I had to walk a half an hour to my apartment. And at that time, it was winter, and the snow would be up to my waist. I get home, I'd be soaked, and also my living conditions weren't the greatest. I have a picture here of an old looking green bathtub. I put that there because at that time in my life, the situation wasn't great. Okay, the apartment I had didn't have a washer or a dryer. Didn't have a dishwasher either, actually. But the washer and dryer was a big one because you need clean clothes, and you can't really do it manually. I mean, you can. And that's what I figured out because I had to. But I used to wash my clothes in the bathtub because that was the only option I had. I mean, I suppose I could have went to my parents' house, but they live quite a ways away. They're just easier to get the quick things done in the bathtub. And I remember, that really hurt. And it took me to a place where I was like, you know what? I see my surrounding. I see how this is, and I want to change this. I know better is possible. I know I can achieve better if I just aim at the right things. So I started to think about what were the right things I wanted to aim at. And the first thing I realized was if I could gain more knowledge on a certain subject, I could, start moving in towards that subject. I'm talking about a career. I knew that if I could change my personal circumstance, if I changed my work situation, and to best do that at the time, I was like, I'm going to go back to college or university, or I weighed all my options, and the NBCC was the best option for me. I took the business program there, a 2-year program. I really enjoyed it, and it's launched my career in sales and marketing and entrepreneurship. Following graduating from MBCC, I had my first career, my first job, and it was selling photocopiers for a company called Xerox. Great job. And at that time, I'm about 23 years old. I'm starting to get my career going. You see that in my personal. I've got no kids, no wife, nothing like that. I did have a girlfriend at the time, but I had lots of free time. I started to think, how should I use this free time? And I really valued my community, and I hold the belief that I should, my community gives to me, whether I realize it or not. I should give back if I can. At that time, I could. So I worked with an organization. I volunteered for an organization called Big Brothers Big Sisters, where basically I was a mentor to a younger boy, a 12-year-old boy who was looking for guidance and a friend. And I said, yeah, I'll hang out with him once a week. And I did that. And then following that, I got a new job. I got a new job at a company called Pattison Outdoor. They, all the billboards and the bus ads and all that stuff. I sold those. I basically helped people put their names on billboards, that type of thing. And I love that job. That job there, actually, I was not qualified for that job, but I worked my butt off to get them to hire me. There's a whole message inside of that as well, as far as like having endurance and having persistence and trying to get the things that you want. That job was, uh, I had the skills that were here, the skills required were here. I made up the difference by effort and saying, hey, I kept calling them and say, hey, can I work there? Can I work there? Can I work there? They said, yeah, leave us alone. You can work here. And I worked there, and I proved to them that I could actually do the job. And I did a great job there. During that time, I expanded my network, or sorry, not my network, my community engagement. And I worked for an organization, or I volunteered for an organization called the St. John City Chamber of Commerce. And basically what they do, I'm not going to get into that. It's not going to matter. Basically, it's businesses and people who want to network. This is an organization that looks after that. And I help them to organize some of their events. Again, just giving back to my community in a different way. Um, Around that same time, I actually ended up getting married. So that girlfriend I had back when I graduated from college, I asked her to marry me, and we got married. And then things really started to heat up. Once I got married, life just started to kind of move like this. I bought a vending machine company. So this is where my entrepreneurship journey starts. Okay. I mean, I suppose you could make an argument that I wanted to be an entrepreneur earlier, maybe like 3 or 4 years prior, I started thinking about it. But I really decided to make the action to be an entrepreneur in 2016, early 2016. And I did this by deciding to find what you would call a side hustle. And the side hustle I landed on was a vending machine company because it was something I could kind of set, and then money would be, they say make money while you sleep. It was kind of like that because I could make money over here while I was working over there. So that was the idea. Uh, the reason behind buying this vending machine company or starting this vending machine company is very quite interesting. And there's something to think about here as well for your own lives. And it's that at around this point in my life, you'll see that I have been removed from school for a couple of years, right? It's been a couple of years after high school. It took me go to college, and then a couple of years after college that I got married, and now I'm like, okay, let's level up my life again, because I had bought into this idea of continually investing in myself. Okay, and I thought maybe I'll go back to college. Oh, I did that already. Then I thought maybe I'll go to university, and I was like, I don't know, maybe. And I thought, what I really want to do is own a business. So what if? And I also want to learn. So it's like, what if I buy a small business and just learn hands-on, learn what it's like to go and find new accounts, like places to put the machines, learn what it's like to do accounting. That's crazy. What's it like to, figure out the inventory? How many chocolate bars should I buy? How many of them are going to get wasted? Like all these things, how to manage my time. Lots and lots and lots of things to learn about running a business. And I learned lots of them in school. I've read them. I've read a textbook. I got a textbook right here, actually. I read, you read the textbook, but there's a big difference between reading the textbook and actually doing the work. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take the money I would have probably invested in going back to school, take that money that I would have spent over here, and I'm going to spend it over here instead and see what happens. So I had a vending machine company that started, which was a crazy time to decide to do that because we wanted to buy a house. So we bought a house, and my wife was pregnant, and we had our first child, our daughter, that year. So in this time frame, new job, some community responsibilities, new business, new house, new baby, things got busy. But I learned a lot in those years, and those years really, really started to form me. Then, actually, right around before I started the vending machine company, my big brother's big sister's engagement ended, so I no longer had the little brother. I think I had him for about a year. I was still doing things with the chamber, but I actually was invited to re-engage with Big Brothers Big Sisters on their board. So they saw the work that I was doing earlier on, and they said, "Hey, would you actually like to sit on our board and help us make decisions? Help us figure out how we can grow this thing?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Literally the same week, I don't know how this happened. Another organization you may be familiar with called Pro Kids. They basically help to collect money and then give that money back out to youth who want to play sports but can't afford it. They also asked me to be on their board, and I was like, sure. I at that point I didn't want to say no to different opportunities because I was trying to grow and that type of thing. So I was like, okay, I'll manage both. And that time I was on both boards, had a new baby, the business was about a year old, house was about a year old. I was getting busy. But then in 2017, I started a new job. So I left the billboard company. I was still at the billboard company. I left them. I went to a digital marketing company. At this point, I still owned the vending machines. I still had my house, my wife, and my kid. I was still doing the volunteering in the community, but now I started a new job at a digital marketing company. Then we had our second child, my son Mason. Then I started my second entrepreneurial venture, a company called Love Over It. Huge story behind that. Basically, we sold T-shirts and we did public speaking. So we would have encouraging messaging. So I would go to different schools, or I would go to different events and talk about the life-saving power of love. This is my second business. So at this point, um, this business and that business overlapped. I had both of them at the same time, and I worked at ICS, and I had two kids, and I had a house. I ended up dropping the community responsibilities at that point, just to focus on those things. And this is all during COVID. This happened as well, so it was even more difficult. But what ended up happening was, because I had so many things on the go, I ended up actually backing off the vending machine company. The vending machine company was the revenue, so the money that was coming in was going up, 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 up. I was growing it. But then it went really down when COVID happened because people weren't allowed to go to vending machines because they had to stay home. But luckily, I ended up selling that company to another vending machine company person. And it was great. And we all made out happy, and it was awesome, and huge lesson about business throughout all that, and how to sell a business and all those fun things. And I did that, and it was a great experience, which helped. And that experience helps propel me in the other entrepreneurial areas of my life, which I'll talk to more in a minute. But especially the second business of mine, which was again called Love Over It. So then the next thing we did was in 2020, we moved out to another house. So this time I had one house, now I'm no longer there. I'm in a different house. And then I start volunteering again, because you see there's kind of like, I don't like sitting still for too long. That's one thing I'm going to talk about in a minute, just kind of as one of the themes. I like to keep moving, keep challenging myself. My work was going great for a couple of years. My business has about a couple of years, is about a year and a half old. No more kids were coming. I volunteered again. I went and served at my church in the youth as a youth group leader. So I gave back and again helped children. I guess I have a theme here of kind of helping youth. But yeah, it's one of the things that I did. So I gave back again. And then I gave back again on top of that. So I was part of the Memorial Cup committee. If any of you remember, the Memorial Cup was here. The Sea Dogs hosted it. I was part of the committee that helped bring that here. Very cool opportunity. Again, I was only able to do this cool thing, which was be part of the Memorial Cup, because I had all this experience doing other leadership, other volunteer things, and other my job supported that opportunity as well. So I earned that opportunity to work on something cool like the Memorial Cup tournament that came to St. John. And then now we're getting to the more recent time. So now we're talking about last year, 2024. At this point, I got no more kids. Still with my wife. Still in the same house that we moved to in 2020. And then in 2024, so last year, I was approached by the University of New Brunswick. They asked me if I'd like to be an instructor there. And I was very much blown away because, as you see, I never even went to university. I went to college, and I didn't know that I was qualified. Which is one of the themes that you'll see throughout this. I didn't believe I was qualified for a lot of this stuff, but I fought for it and I got it. Um, but UNB approached me, and at that time, I got really good at evaluating my responsibilities because, as you can see, there's some periods in my life where like I'm really stacking up on responsibilities, and it weighed on me. I would, feel the weight, the stress of these things. And I've learned that I can't say yes to everything, say yes to the right things. So, and if I want to say yes to something like UMB, I need to make room. So what I had done was I wanted to say yes to UMB after talking with my wife. And the only way to do that was to end Love Over It. So I closed this business down and I started to work part-time at UMB. So what's important to note here is that I was still working at ICS, the marketing agency, and I now did this in the evenings working at UMB. All right, so I did that, and then beginning of this year, so I guess in September of this year, I started another entrepreneurial journey. So this one is what I do currently, and this is a company I have, which is called Strands Integrated Marketing Solutions, and I basically sell and help small businesses with their marketing, helping them to grow their companies if they're looking to grow. And at this time, I had to leave the company I was with, ICS Creative Agency. They employed me. I worked for them. I had to leave them. So I left them and I took my experience and I went and started my own company as a full-time entrepreneur. I also no longer teach at UMB. That was a one-time thing. And I do this full-time. But as you can see, look at all this experience I have in order to make this work, and how many times I had to invest in learning. I invested in learning at NBCC. I invested in learning at the vending machine company, again at Love Over It. And I learned every time I was at these businesses, and I just kept pushing forward. And now I'm living I one thing we'll talk about in a second is how much I enjoyed every move that I've made, and there's certain values that help me to know which move to make next. So currently I'm a full-time entrepreneur. These two were part-time things, side hustles as you call them, and they help to shape me and shape what it means to be an entrepreneur today. And as it shows here, my time has also opened up a little bit, and I no longer have any of these other community responsibilities, but I've added another right now, and I'm sitting on a leadership team for a company or a company called Band of Brothers, which is basically a men's group that gets together and supports men, lifts up men, and that type of thing. So that's my community engagement currently. So this is a look at my life. There's been a lot of moving pieces over the last 17 years, lots of detail, each of them ups and downs and all kinds of things. But this is what it looks like. I've covered, different areas: personal, school, work, entrepreneur, and community. And I could have just stayed still. I could have just said, no, you know what? I'm just going to work here. And that's fine for some people. It's fine. If they're happy doing what they're doing when they get out of high school, that's totally cool. But I wasn't. I knew I wasn't. So I kept moving towards the thing that I wanted to do and that I was happy doing. But let's take a closer look at this. So again, we still have the years at the bottom here. And now I've added this graph. And I've got the word income up here in the top left-hand corner. What you'll notice here is that my income kind of goes, there's none in 2007. It kind of goes up 2009. It goes up again after I graduate MBCC. Goes up again when I start working at the billboard company. It goes up, up, up. But then it goes down. I leave ICS. I leave the billboard company and go to ICS, and my income goes down. And I did that for an important reason, because I knew, again, I was trading I was trading the money for the amount of experience I would get to further my career. So I was willing to take less money for the opportunity to grow more. And notice I did it again. So right here in 2024, my income was at an all-time high. But as I've stepped into the entrepreneurial journey, I had to leave ICS, and I'm taking a income hit. I'm going lower, and the idea is that if I go down lower, I'm going to jump back up again and go further. Okay, so that's the idea here, is not being too afraid of money and income, but allowing it to kind of come and go as I make the proper moves. I'll show you those proper moves that are here in a second. Ability to help my community. So I had really small ability to help my community. And then right around where I got my first career, I had this great opportunity to help my community. And I just kept going and going and going. I had more opportunity to help my community as I kept going, because I kept gaining more knowledge, becoming more valuable, becoming more willing to help. That's been amazing. My desire to learn. In high school, middle school, I didn't have a desire to learn. If you do at this age, amazing. That is going to serve you very well. But right around when I had that rock bottom feeling when I was washing the clothes in my apartment building, in the sink or the tub, I said, you know what? The only way I'm going to get out of this is if I have a desire to learn. And at that point, my desire to learn was very high, and it's maintained that high. So as you see, my income matches. My income's getting pulled up to match my desire to learn. It's getting pulled up because I continually want to learn. And the same thing is true with my desire to do what I love. So my desire to do what I love was very low in high school. But then again, when I hit that rock bottom point before I went to community college, I said, I don't care if I like what I'm doing. I just want to make some money. Then I said, you know what? I can actually enjoy what I do. Why don't I do that? So I put that as a goal and a value for myself. And as I did that, my income started to go up. My desire to help my family. Well, until about 2013, 2014, I had no family. I had a girlfriend. I mean, I had, family around me, but I had no immediate family. I had no wife or kids. But right before I got married, I said, you know what? I need to make a decision. Is family going to be important to me? Yes. Yes, it is. That's what I decided. And if it is, I'm going to hold that as a high value. So that's been established as a value for me. And then the desire to help others. I've always had a desire to help others, even from before high school. That's always remained high. So because of those things remaining high, and I kept those in the forefront, I was continually able to make moves to, change careers and adopt community things like that I could do, and have this really fun, fulfilling. Remember the word holistic we looked at before? Holistic life. Every step of the way has been more and more fulfilling as I've moved forward. What's been interesting is that where I focus is the most is has been the most important. Okay, I used to be really focused on my income, and not to say that I just ignore my income or I'm not concerned with my income. I am, because we need income to live, of course. But when it was the times where it was my main focus, I'd be distracted. I wasn't making great decisions. But if I kept my focus at helping my community, having a strong desire to learn, desire to do what I love to do. Now these ones go hand in hand. Let's stop there for a second. My desire to learn was really low in the early years, because I was like, this is not helpful to me. Like I wasn't, but I focused in on the things that I loved, like business and helping people and sales and these types of the things that are good to me, working with computers and problem solving. I like those things. Once I could figure that out, once I figured out what I like to do, I move in that direction. So there's a really strong correlation between desiring to learn based on being able to love what I'm learning. A friend of mine right now, he is going to, he's studying to become like a captain, like to captain a boat. And he admits he wasn't very good in high school. He's like, I didn't understand things. It wasn't great, whatever. He tried, he graduated, he did his best. But now that he's studying to become a captain of a boat and he loves boats, he's flying through it. He's doing great. He's acing his exams, everything, because he loves it. So don't lose that, okay? Don't right now in your element or your middle school and high school years, they can be very tough because there's a lot of subjects that you like, some you don't like, etc. But as you move forward in life, life goes on after high school and middle school. As you move on after life, try to find the things that you really enjoy, okay? And then have more of a desire to learn those things. I also had a desire to help my family and had a desire to help others. So my focus is this drink. Okay. No. Ability to help my community, a desire to learn, a desire to do what I write these things down. A desire to do what I love, a desire to help my family, a desire to help others. Okay. And the desire to help others is the community piece and the making sure I do good work piece. Do those things. These are the things. If I focus on these things, then I get the outcome, which is income, peace, and purpose. Purpose is a very big word. If you probably are thinking about what's your purpose right now, but as you get older, you continue to wrestle with that question. What is my purpose? Where do I belong? Where do I belong? Keep working on these things and you'll start to find out where you belong and what your purpose is. And there's also a very key thing. This is we're gonna land the plane here. I'm gonna tell you how to become a holistic entrepreneur. There's one thing that's gonna be ultra important. Okay. The first thing, and that thing is realizing that every step of the way, every move that I had made along from 2007 to today, I had to sit and face fear. This is supposed to be me, a little cartoon character version of me. And beside every single decision, I was shaking in my boots. Before I graduated high school, before I even got the job at McDonald's, before I left my job at the call center, before I started to go to school, or before I opened my own business, before I volunteered in the community, before I asked my wife to marry me, before I bought a home, before I had children, especially before I had children, before I volunteered, before I had my own business, before I went and taught at university where I felt like I may have been underqualified, I had to deal with fear. That's the theme. That's what you need to be left with today, is that to become a holistic person or a holistic entrepreneur, you need to understand the role that fear has in your life. And if you remember in one of the first slides I had, it said, I was full of fear in high school. Yes, I was. And then for now, it says I have less fear. I'm not fearless. I have less fear, which means that fear comes and I look at it and I don't let it control me. What I understand is a really good quote that I love is, everything I'm looking for in life is found on the other side of fear. I don't let fear control me. I move through fear and I go and get the life that I know I deserve and the one that I'll love. And I've never, ever regretted, I've never had a regret facing my fear and doing something that I knew out of love that was meant for me. So if you want to become a holistic entrepreneur, you want to live a life that is completely an adventure, super fun, moving without being held back. If you want to live that kind of life, what you're going to do is you're going to do it scared. You're going to be faced with those decisions. You're going to look at them. You're going to say, you know what? There's better for me beyond this, and I'm going to do it that way. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope that you can apply this to your life. I hope your journey is just as fun and fulfilled as mine is. And I hope that next time you're faced with something that's fearful, I pray and I hope that you will do it scared. Thank you.